Hey guys, Carl here, Cultivate with Carl, and spring has sprung here on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, Zone 9A, right on the beach, just about 2 blocks from the beach due south. It's a beautiful day. It's partly cloudy and about 66 degrees right now, so it's a perfect day to get out here, whip the yard into shape, and continue on with the spring gardening. So as you might be able to see behind me, I've already got some of the plants in the grounds, but you can also see over here that we have some of the beds that we have to tame today, and that's what we're going to talk about today on the video, which is getting those beds into gear for the season. So we'll take a quick tour. I mean, just a really quick snapshot, look around the garden, and then we'll get over here and we'll see what we're going to do to these beds to get them ready to plant more stuff. Okay guys, in this bed right here, we've got some onions on this side, and over there we got some garlic. The fun thing about the garlic was it was just in my pantry and sprouted, so I just bought it out here and knocked it out. So this bed, I just topped it off with a little bit of, compost and a little bit of mushroom compost. And then that was it. It didn't need much more than that. And I tinkered with the irrigation system a little bit. I'm going to revamp the irrigation system in these beds here. That's one of my to-do lists. So that's about it for this bed. I imagine in this row right here, we're gonna have to find something to put in there. I'm not sure, maybe overflow for tomato ICU or something. We'll see. Okay, in this bed, this is tomato bed 3. So we're going in descending order. This is kind of a hodgepodge of tomatoes. The 4 tomatoes on the ends of the beds were store-bought, and I had to store-buy this year because the ones I grew in the house, my little starts, they just did not do well. So what we have here is we have 2 bush Goliaths, and then there should be cherry tomatoes, and then 2 more types of big tomatoes on the end, and we'll get to those later on when we start looking into the beds some more. But I redid the sprinkler system in this bed. Instead of drip irrigation, it's got the little sprinkle heads on it. And this was just done with stuff that I had on hand. So the tubing, I'm gonna have to buy a little bit more of the tubing. And I had sprinkler heads and stuff already left over from last year. So we're gonna have to do this to the rest of the beds because I find it works a little bit better than the drip irrigation. So let's move on. Okay, here in tomato bed 2, you can see I'm using this year, I'm using the tomato cages. So there's tomato bed 3 and one of the Squirrel Patrol. And so what I've decided to do this year, I've tried the trellis method, I've tried the single strand method. I've done several ways to trellis with sticks and stuff. This year, I'm gonna try the tomato cages. Now I know most people say those aren't the best, but I have them, therefore I'll just go ahead and use them. So in this bed is mostly determinants. All of the tomatoes on that row right there are Celebrity. There are some Bella Rosa tomatoes in there that I grew. And then some of the ones on the end are Celebrities. This is the ones that I had planted myself. These were the survivors. These were the ones that survived the most. So we're gonna get a whole bunch of determinants out of bed 2. So hopefully determinants, they grow, they pop their tomatoes, and then pretty much they're done, is my understanding. It's the advantage of having determinants, and you don't have to mess with them as much as you do indeterminates. Okay guys, here on tomato bed 1, we've got 4 indeterminate types of tomatoes. They look like they're in need of a little bit of water. And this bed here, I'm just doing 4. Normally I put too many tomatoes in this bed, so I thought this year I would just put a few and let them spread out. And I'll use the strings to trellis them up if I can keep a ruby out of there. So that'll be about it. So this should be some good tomato getting here in this bed, but we'll see what happens. All right, along the back fence here, what I did was every pot that you see a black pot on top of them, there are cucumbers. So I've planted cucumbers, and I'm going to use the fence as a trellis. And also, I'm going to tidy up the cables that I have for the water system. I'm going to shorten them up significantly just so they reach to the pots right below them. And then in the pots, or in the bags that you don't see a pot, I have put potatoes in there. So I have two different types of potatoes. They are kind of late getting in. They're about a month late getting into the ground. So it'll be interesting to see if we beat the heat. But that is about that. So we have different kinds of cucumbers. The whole fence will hopefully be covered in cucumbers, and that'll make me happy. That way I'll have some for me, I'll have some for the family, and I'll be able to give some away. So there we go. All right, guys, so what we're going to talk about today is how we're going to get these beds into shape. And what you're seeing here, once the warm weather kicked in, the hairy vetch, first it was just mainly the ryegrass that was growing in abundant. But now, since it's gotten a little bit warmer, these little yellow flowers you see, that is the hairy vetch, and it is growing up pretty big. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to chop these beds down, and then I'm going to turn the soil under. Oh, sound of freedom. Air Force never takes a day off. Yep, there you go. So what we're going to do is we're going to chop these down today. And we're going to level them all out. I'm going to take down some of the trellises over there. And we're going to level the beds out. And we'll take the grass clippings. Now, there's a lot of clippings here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of half them between putting them in the compost and turning them under. Because I think there's too much to just turn under in these beds. If I had some like 30-foot long rows, that's what we do. We just get the tiller out and we just till them all under. It'd be good to go. But in these raised beds, basically what I'm going to do is just, once I get it cut down, I'll use my pitchfork to break up all the root systems, and then I'll just roll them over. And then on top of that, I will put some compost and then some store-bought manure. So I got cow manure from store-bought. And then I have my compost that I'll put on top. And then we'll water it all in real good, and these beds will be ready to go. So that's what we're going to do today. Plus, we're going to straighten up the yard a little bit. The yard is kind of a mess from the winter. The dogs have made a mess. And also, I've got some weeds and stuff around the edges I've got to clean up. But I'll do all that with the weed eater. And it'll be good to go. So that's what we're going to do today. And so stay tuned. All right, guys. Tale of two flower beds. So on the right here, my right, this is what it looks like once you've incorporated everything in. And all right, so what I was attempting to do was I was tempted to go ahead and use a cover crop to keep out the weeds, to build the soil, and to make everything better for this year. I may have laid it on a little too thick with the grass because for about the first level here, all the grass have just made roots. And so it's like a mat. So you can just almost peel it back and it's just one mat of roots. So did it keep out the weeds? Absolutely. There was no weeds in there except for what I planted. There was a dachshund. I found a dachshund in my bed that's not supposed to be in the bed. Were there any weeds? No. Was there stuff to incorporate back into the soil with the thought process being that the grass will degrade just like in the compost pile and release its nitrogen into the soil to make the soil better. So is that a fact? Well, that's yet to be seen. And I imagine that's going to take place over a few weeks here during the season. And I probably should have done this a little bit sooner. But what I will tell you is I probably laid on the grass seed a little too thick, and it is quite a chore to turn the topsoil. It's taken every tool I have, the hoe, the pitchfork, even my machete. And so once you get the grass pulled up, then you got to break up all the clods, and then it'll even out. And then I even took the machete and chopped it up a little more. So what the plan is now is to get the dogs out of the bed. They know they're not supposed to be in there anyway. Get the dogs out of the bed, water it down really good, and then add some amendments, which is going to be some, basically some bone meal, some 10-10-10, and then I'm going to put on some of the cow manure and then go get some of my compost to top it off, because my compost isn't quite done yet, so it'll act actually kind of like a mulch. So, and that will be that for the bed. I'll do this bed, and then we'll put the irrigation system back in. So let's check on that. I'll save you the watching me work and cussing and stuff. So we'll just come back when I get these two beds totally done, and you can see. So, let me get up so you can see a little bit better. All right, so chopped up, good to go. About ready to be broke up and chopped up like that one. All right. Okay. I got the black cow on there, and then I've just spent time sifting out my compost. Now, this compost has been cooking in my yard since last year, and I sifted it to get out the rocks and stuff and the sticks, but it's not quite done, but it's good enough, I think, especially for what I'm using it for. It's surely not wet enough. And I think this was toward the bottom of the pile, and I think this is, what happened last year. Certainly I haven't been watering it like I should, but it all looks good, It smells good. It smells like dirt. So, I mean, that's the way it's supposed to. And this was all leaves and cardboard boxes, food scraps, coffee grounds, water. What's funny, when I was using the shredding from my mail shredding, if you accidentally leave an envelope in there that's got that little plastic window in it, that's the piece that you get out. So while I've been sifting it out, I've been picking these out because you certainly don't want plastics in your garden. So, all right, so there you go. So now we're going to dump this on there, and then we're going to move to the next one. All right, guys, there we go. That's your day. It's getting later in the afternoon. This is the first day of daylight savings times. I'm going to make the most of these longer days now. Once I get off work, I'm get off relatively early, and I could come out here and work almost every day. So the point is now is getting the rest of the beds in shape, getting stuff planted in them and ready to go, and then maintaining the tomatoes I already got in. So I'm pretty excited. The squirrel patrol is already out doing their job. The squirrels are out. You might be able to hear the birds cooing, the pigeons cooing. But they were for sure out doing their job. Look, we grew a dachshund. So it's good start to the season. I expect it to get hot again this year like it did last year. And so what we're going to do this year is we're going to go on the defense. We're going to use a lot of shade cloth and stuff. And so we're going to try and keep growing through the year and keep productive. So that's about it. So what we learned today was we learned that, yes, the cover cropping works for weeds. I may have put too much in there because let me tell you what, it is a work to get it turned over, get the beds turned over, and get all that stuff chopped up. So if it was in the ground, you can see on that bed down there now, I have a tarp on it. If it was in the ground, you would first put a tarp on it and get things dying, and then you would come behind with the little tiller, or maybe you're doing no-till, you would just put some stuff on top of it. But in the raised beds, go get them, Squirrel Patrol. They don't know why they're barking. It's just another dog barking. But anyway, so in the raised beds, it's maybe I shouldn't have gone so heavy with the grass seeds. So there you go. But lesson learned. So we'll get these beds ready. We'll get them up to speed. It's going to take a little bit of time, a little work. No problem at all. That's what we're here for. If you like the channel, hit the old like button, subscribe, give me a thumbs up. Helps with the algorithm, as they say. And for sure, we're going to have a lot more videos now that the grow season is on. So there you go. It's Carl and the Overly Active Squirrel Patrol signing off from Cultivate with Carl.